Okay, so, AI, right? I mean, everyone's talking about it these days, but it can get kind of overwhelming trying to keep up with it all.
Totally. It's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes.
Right. So that's why we're doing this deep dive. Getting into this UN report governing AI for humanity. Yeah, have you seen this thing? It's massive.
Oh, yeah, over 100 pages. It's a beast.
Yeah. But it's important, right? I mean, the UN wouldn't put something like this out if they weren't trying to tell us something big was coming.
Exactly. This isn't just some tech company telling us AI is the future. This is a global call to action trying to get everyone on the same page.
Which is kind of the point of the UN, right? Getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. And this report is unique because it brings together experts from all over the world, different backgrounds, different fields, all trying to understand what AI means for humanity. So let's dive into it. What's the headline? Well, the report doesn't sugarcoat it. They call AI a general-purpose technology.
Okay, so what does that even mean?
Think of it like this. They're putting AI in the same category as the revolutions of computers and the internet.
Wow, huge.
Huge. But there's a catch.
Oh, there's always a catch.
Right. The report says AI's impact is expected to be much, much faster than those previous revolutions. We're not talking decades here. We're talking years, maybe even less.
Okay, so buckle up. Everything's about to change and fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why this report is so important. We need to be prepared. And one of the ways it helps us prepare is by giving us concrete examples of what this rapid AI impact might look like.
Okay, so give me an example. Where is this rapid impact going to hit first?
Let's start with something out of this world space. The report talks about how AI is already revolutionizing radio astronomy. You see, telescopes collect massive amounts of data from space, more than we could ever analyze in a human lifetime.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack the size of a galaxy.
Exactly. But AI can sift through that data at warp speed. It can find patterns and anomalies that would take us humans centuries to uncover. And this is just one example. The report talks about AI's potential to transform everything from healthcare to transportation to education.
Okay, so you're saying AI could help doctors diagnose diseases earlier, or make self-driving cars a reality, or even personalize education for every student.
That's the potential. But of course, there's another side to this coin. We can't just talk about the benefits of AI without also addressing the risks.
Right.
And the report doesn't shy away from those risks. In fact, they take a very interesting approach to looking at them.
Oh, how so?
They call it a vulnerability-based approach.
Vulnerability-based. That sounds kind of intense. What does that actually mean?
It means they're not just looking at what could go wrong with AI. They're specifically looking at who is most likely to be harmed as AI becomes more powerful.
So instead of just saying AI could be dangerous, they're saying, hey, this particular group of people over here, they're especially vulnerable to the risks of AI.
Exactly. It's about understanding how AI could potentially worsen existing inequalities if we're not careful. And they even have a chart in the report showing how different groups are concerned about the impact of AI on marginalized communities and the global south.
So they're really putting people at the center of the conversation, which makes sense because AI is ultimately a tool, and it's up to us to decide how we use it.
Precisely. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the choices we make, about how we develop and deploy it. And that's where things get really interesting because we have to start asking ourselves some tough questions.
Like what?
Like who gets to decide how AI is used? Who benefits from its development? And who bears the risks if things go wrong?
Those are big questions.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they're not easy to answer.
They're not. But that's why this UN report is so important. It's a starting point for a global conversation about the future of AI. And it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of.
So we've talked about AI's potential upside. And we've talked about the risks, especially for people who are already vulnerable. But what are we actually doing about all of this? That's where this whole global governance thing comes in, right?
Right. And the report doesn't sugarcoat it. They say straight up there's a global governance deficit when it comes to AI.
A deficit. So we're coming up short.
Way short. There's a lot of talk about AI ethics and principles, but not nearly enough action. It's like everyone's brought their instruments to the orchestra, but no one's actually playing in tune or together.
And I'm guessing that's a problem.
A big one. Because when countries try to tackle AI governance on their own, you get a patchwork of different rules and regulations.
So what one country considers unethical, another might be totally fine with.
Exactly. And that creates loopholes. Companies could just shop around for the country with the weakest rules and do whatever they want.
So it becomes a race to the bottom.
Exactly. And the thing is, in a globally interconnected world like ours, it doesn't stay contained in that one country with the lax rules. If a company develops a risky AI system somewhere with no oversight, it can impact people all over the world.
It's like a virus. Doesn't respect borders.
Exactly, which is why this whole global governance thing is so important. We need to be working together on this, not at odds with each other.
Okay, I get it. Global cooperation is key. But how do we actually make that happen? I mean, the UN can't exactly force countries to do anything, right?
True, but they can provide a framework for cooperation, a set of guidelines and principles that everyone can agree on, and that's a big part of what this report is trying to do. The report lays out a really compelling case for why global cooperation on AI is in everyone's best interest. It's not about stifling innovation, it's about making sure that innovation benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
Right, because if AI is really as transformative as everyone says it is, then getting this right is critical.
Absolutely. And the report goes beyond just making the case for cooperation. It actually offers some concrete solutions.
Okay, so let's talk more action.
Hmm.
What are some of the UN's big ideas for AI governance?
Well, one that I found really interesting was the idea of creating a global panel of AI scientists. Think of it like the IPCC for climate change, but for AI.
So like a dream team of AI experts from around the world providing neutral, objective advice.
Exactly. They would be responsible for assessing the risks and benefits of AI technologies and providing guidance to policymakers, kind of like a global AI advisory board.
Okay, I like it. What else?
Another big one is data. You see, AI is only as good as the data it's trained on. And right now, most of the world's data is controlled by a handful of powerful tech companies.
So it's like the new gold rush. Whoever has the most data wins.
In a way, yeah. And that creates a huge power imbalance. The report argues that we need to democratize access to data so that everyone can benefit from AI, not just a select few.
Okay, so how do we do that?
That's the million-dollar question. The report suggests creating a global framework for AI training data, sort of like a set of rules and standards for how data is collected, shared, and used.
Sounds like a logistical nightmare to get everyone on board with something like that.
No, it definitely won't be easy. But the report points to successful models of international cooperation in other fields, like CERN, for example. If we can work together to unlock the secrets of the universe, surely we can find a way to share data more equitably, right?
Not thought.
Yeah.
But CERN didn't have to deal with the same kind of corporate interests and geopolitical tensions that we see in the tech world today.
Very true. It's definitely a challenge. But the fact that we're even having this conversation is a sign of progress. The first step to solving a problem is acknowledging that it exists.
So we've got all these ideas about global AI governance, but how do we actually make it happen? It's kind of overwhelming, right? Thinking about all the countries and companies that need to get on board.
It can feel that way. But I think the most important thing is to remember that this isn't just about governments and corporations. This is about all of us.